Ah, here's a fun comparison. Boy, this is a rare opportunity. Two 1969 D-18's. Both of them are stock, so I made no modifications to them except for ebony bridge pins in both of them. Non-slotted ebony bridge pins, and I slotted the bridge. And they both have fresh neck resets. They both have about the same level of fret wear. I haven't refretted either one of them. They've got the stock frets on them, which have just very little wear. They both got the stock nuts, although I did correct the spacing a little bit on both of them. Martin was using a center to center here, and like I've explained in other videos, man, the A and the D are just super cramped, and they're like that. So what I do on these, because they're both ivory nuts, I cut the slot considerably deeper and inlaid a new piece of bone into that slot, and then cut the fresh slot over to where I wanted it. And I did that on both of these guitars to give more even room between the strings. That didn't change the sound any, that just changes the playability. They both got the stock Grover Rotomatics. This one has got a replacement pickguard because of the stock one curled up really bad. But this is an original pickguard that I salvaged off of another Blackguard guitar, and it didn't warp too bad, and I was able to put it on this guitar. So it's not the original pickguard for this guitar, but it is in fact an original pickguard, and I stuck it on there. This one is the actual original pickguard, and it shrunk around the edges, but I removed it and restuck it, to relieve the stress on it. And so far it's sticking, but man, it's shrunk by an eighth of an inch. I'll show you. Let's get up on the camera here. This is the shop guitar, by the way. And so you can see that's how much the pickguard shrinks. And I don't mind sticking it back in there, because I'm trying to keep the guitar, this one, as stock as possible. Both of these guitars have Brazilian rosewood bridges and fingerboards. And now I'm going to get to the really interesting part. They are 30 serial numbers apart. 30. That's pretty close. In 1969, Martin made 14,078 guitars. So I broke that down. 14,078 guitars. Hopefully I'll get the right guitar. No, I better get the right guitar back to the right owner. So let's do the math here. 14,078 guitars divided by, do you think they took 2 weeks off for vacation? 52 weeks. That's 270 guitars a week divided by 5 work days. So 54 guitars a day. That's a lot. You think that's a lot? 54 guitars a day in 1969, and these guitars are 30 apart on the serial numbers. What I think is interesting about this, aside from that, is number one, this one is local to me. I work on very, very, very few local guitars. I live near a town of 1,500 people, and the next nearest town is 45 miles away, and it's like 4,000 people. I don't live in a populated area at all. And for me to have, first of all, a 1969 Martin D-18, I think that's one of the rarest. I take that back. I think that's very unusual that I get a guitar of this quality locally. Now, I will say this, I have 2 Olson guitars in the vicinity. But he came from a bigger town. He moved from a much larger town to the smaller town. And I've worked on both of those Olsons just to set up and frets, minor stuff. So anyway, it's unusual to have this guitar locally. And it's really unusual to have it match so closely to my shop guitar, which I bought from back east. I bought it from a customer that was going to sell it. So it's interesting to have guitars this close to each other. Now, the second interesting thing here is the difference in the neck shape. So these guitars were probably made on the same day. I mean, in the same batch, 30, Martin made 54, 55 a day. They were made within the same 24-hour period. at least. And what's interesting here is, that, again, the neck shape. Of course, the necks are handmade back then and everything, but my shop guitar has got the most wonderful neck. It's a fat, chunky neck, especially up here at the nut. It's got a great taper, and it's really chunky up here in the first couple frets. I've commented on that many times in the videos with the shop guitars, how great this neck is. It feels like it has a flatter radius. I know it's not, but it feels like it has a flatter radius, and I like flatter radiuses. They feel wider to me. And every time I pick this guitar up, I think, gosh, that's a great neck, you know? Well, the other one is a good neck, but it's much more like some of the 60s I have over there. This is the 60s. It's like the earlier 60s. The 1965 D-21, the 63 D-18, and those guitars. It's a thinner feeling neck right here. I would swear that this neck was thinner at the nut. It's not, but the depth is thinner. It's thinner by about 30 thousandths of an inch, and that's a lot. It also has a much, much more pronounced V to it than the Shop 69. The Shop 69 is almost a rounded shape. It definitely fills your hand more. This one has got a V that feels very, very much like the 65 D21. And when I pick it up, it immediately feels thin. I mean, I immediately got, like, you know, I can get my whole hand around this neck, and it has a completely different feel to it than this one does, which is share number 30 away. So this is a good neck, you know. I mean, I could play it and get used to it pretty comfortably, but it always feels like it's just a little thin. It feels like the D28 41 Authentic. I pick it up, and my first impression is, well, that's a pretty narrow neck. You know, pick up this one, the shop guitar, and I'm like, I would swear that's a 23/32 neck, you know. So the difference in feel is pretty interesting. And it just goes to show you that if you're picky about the neck, for me, the neck is 75% of the guitar. You know, as long as the body sounds pretty good, as long as the body's not just a total dog, the neck is what I interact with on the guitar. So the neck is much more important to me than you would think. You know, everybody's, how does it sound? Well, sometimes they sound good, but I don't like the neck. If I like the neck, I will play really good on it, and I will make it sound good. In my head, I'll make it sound good. You know, in my head, it's a pleasant overall experience. And to me, the feel of the guitar has a lot to do with how I perceive the sound. Now, you as a listener, you don't get that kind of perception, and so you have a different experience with it than I do. But when I get a neck that I like that guitar. So, if you're going to rush out and buy a 1969 D18 or whatever it is, man, me, I'd be playing the neck. And I know when I bought the 65 D21, you know, the first thing I asked was, what kind of neck does it have? Because some of them are really skinny, and some of them are chunkier. I had a 67 D21. It's in one of my other videos. It has the big Grover tuners, and I changed them. But that guitar had a wonderful neck on it. It was just like, it was like the 69 here. It was a chunkier neck. It was a fantastic neck. So just 3 years later, 65, 67, 2 years later, here's a guitar with a wonderful neck. And, you know, here's these guitars that are 30 apart, and the shop guitar's got a wonderful neck. This one's got a, you know, taller neck. It feels like the other guitars. I could play it, but I would swear it's thinner. Okay, my job on this guitar, I'm going to play them, I'm going to A-B them, and you can see if you hear any differences between them. And again, they're both stock. They've got fresh neck resets, bone saddles. They've got the original ivory nut, which has been kind of respaced a little bit, but they've got the original Grovers. They've got the bridge plate, the original bridge, original frets, non-scallop braces. I mean, bridge plate, everything's in there. So it's an interesting comparison. Strings are the same, phosphor bronze mediums, Martin 550 bulk strings, no big deal there. Strings don't make that much difference. You'll still hear the tone of the guitar. So my job on this guitar, being a local guitar, you know, they don't want to spend a whole lot of money on it, but they do want to get it playable for their grandchild. And they wanted to know how much the guitar was worth. I told them, you know, about what it's worth. And so they're going to wisely kind of set it aside till the kid's ready for it. Lucky kid, huh? So that's good, you know, it's going to be protected. It's in good shape. It's been played. It's got a wear mark right here where, you know, somebody's dragging their fingers, probably has fingernails. Got a little wear up here on the neck, first position. So, you know, they played cowboy chords, and the only fret wear on it is in the first 3 frets. I thought about putting new frets on here, but these frets are about 33 thousandths of an, I pulled one, and about 33 thousandths of an inch, so I'd have tall frets, and it doesn't need it, you know, right now. Let it on it would. Anyway, the pickguard was really curled up. It was trashed. I couldn't save it, so I put a new pickguard on it, which I already had on hand. I just did a little bit of trimming on it to make it right for this guitar. Stuck it on with sticky tape. Did an equi-shed on it. It had the stock plastic bridge pins, which were just all bent up. And I dug around. I found a set of ebony pins that I stuck in there. One last thing I'll say about both of these 69s. The bridge is in exactly the right position. It's actually back. It's just a smidgen further than even the new Martins would be. It matches my ruler. This is my magic scale measuring stick, and it matches this exactly. So when I put this on the middle of the 12th fret, that low E crosses exactly on the red mark that I have here for the bass string. And the treble, see, I got this stick off of Martin that intonated correctly, and the treble is actually a little farther back than my little red mark. So it intonates correctly, and as I pointed out in one of the other videos, I had a 1970 D-18, so just 1 year after this. I have to check the serial number on that to see how many guitars it was, you know. 1970 D-18, and it was 1/8 of an inch out of position. So I'm not sure I really buy the idea that the measuring stick wore. I guess there's multiple measuring sticks, but I've got two 69s here that are perfectly intonated, and then a year later, it's 1/8 of an inch out. You know? Harmonics are not the best way to do this, you know. But that gets you close. Anyway, let's play it. Time to do the little A-B sound comparison test. Ready? I like putting the cape up on the second fret because then I get the wider neck feel that I like a little bit better. Yeah, good guitar, huh? Oh man, I worked out too hard at the gym the other day. My shoulders, really sore. So I guess I'm gonna take it home today and go work out at the gym again. See if I can get my shoulder working again. Right here. Rotator cuff, probably, huh? See ya.